everybody, this is Bonnie from bonniescreativeplace.stampinup.net, and I am here with card number 2 from our online class. This is the Simply Succulent class, and we chose this stamp set, and I'm going to show you the card that we're going to make for card number 2. This is the card we're going to make. Is it not absolutely gorgeous? I just love this card. It is so wonderful. So to join my online class, all you had to do was order this bundle by the 12th of February, and then I write up a tutorial and I give you all the supplies to make the cards, and you have to do your own stamping and your die cutting and stuff like that at home. But there are things that I did add on that I told you that you may need to buy if you wanted to purchase them. And one of the things that I used in this stamp set is in the Curvy Creation bundle. There are these Curvy Creation dies, and they have these tiny little birds in this bundle, and I brought in those birds. If you do not have this set and you have different birds, feel free to use them. Use what you have. You can. This also is very pretty without the birds, but the birds just send it to that next level of wow. So you know, go ahead and do what you can with what you have and with the stamp set. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to sit that right there, and we're going to get these things out of our way. And in your kit, you're going to get, I've pre-done some of my stuff because we'd have been here all day with me coloring and putting it all together. And so I didn't want a very long video. I wanted to most show the process of putting the card together and then just give you a few tips on it. So you're going to have your base card, and then you're going to have your next layer, which is this petal pink. So you're going to have that next layer. Then we're going to have our next layer of basic white that we're going to emboss. And then you're going to get, yours won't be cut out, but you will get some green scrap, and you will get some blue Pool Party scrap, and you'll be die cutting out the stuff that we need. I'll be doing some of that here with you. And then in the directions, I had taken a picture of how to, because you'll get another bigger sheet of how to lay out all your stamps so they'll fit on there, and there should be more than enough room, but I had already cut mine up and colored it all my pieces in. So I colored in all my little pots and all my flowers and all my birds. I left one bird and one pot here to color with you guys, so that way I could show you how I colored the pot to give it a little bit of a shadowing, and how I colored one of the birds. So we're going to go ahead and do this first, so that when we get the big machine out, the big guy, we can do all that die cutting and embossing and everything at the same time. So I'm going to zoom you in here. Okay. And for this one, this pot here, you are going to need the Cajun Craze, and we're going to need the Pool Party. So we're going to start with the Cajun Craze Light first, and we're just going to color the whole pot part in. I should say this top brim right here, and then all the way down here. We're not coloring in that little, and if it's easier to outline it first so you don't go out of the lines, and then just kind of color it all in. That's kind of what I do. And the more you go over something, it changes the color. So you try not to go over it too much if you're looking for a lighter light source. So there we go. We got that. Now we're going to bring in the dark, and I am just going to come in a little ways and this side and that side. And I'm going to do the same thing, making longer strokes down towards the bottom, making it come out more, and then coming up the top. I went out of the lines there a little bit. Oops. Now I'm going to go back with my light, and I am going to go over top of this. And then I'm going to come out a little bit. I'm going to go over top and go out just a little bit. You don't want to go out too much, but you want to give it that watery look effect. If that it makes sense. I'll bring it up closer in case, oops. Oh, I hope you guys saw most of that. I'm so sorry. I pulled it closer to me. But you want to give it that watery look effect, where you pulling it in and see how there's like that, it's 3 different colors, because we got the really light and then you got the dark. But then when you go over it with the light again, you get like this 3rd color there. And that's kind of what you want when you're coloring it. If you don't want to do all the blending, you don't have to do that. Just color it one color and you're fine. It'll look just great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light, and same thing here. I just went all over these, the pool party, and I colored this all in with the light. I went, oh, don't move. I went along this little brim, and I went along down here. Now I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm just going right back over this. It just gives it like another color, like another layer. And same thing with the bottom. Then I'm going to come over this like this. And I'm going in about as far as I went in with the dark. I'm going in. I'm doing the same thing that I did down below. Okay. And then I'm bringing in the light. And I'm not going to go all the way over, because I want to keep that little bit of a light source in the middle. I am no blending expert. This is just what I do when I play, and if it's appealing to my eye, then I like it. And so that's what I liked, and that's what I ended up with. So now we're going to move on to the little birdie. So for this bird, I'm going to need Granny Apple Green and the light, not Cajun Craze, the light Crystal Coral. And so I brought in the light Crystal Coral, and I'm going to color the bottom of his belly like that. Then I bring in the light Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to color right over the Crystal Coral and his whole body. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with the Crystal Coral, and I'm just going to make it a little darker at the bottom, so it kind of faded. It faded in together. And now I'm going to bring in the dark Granny Apple Green, and I am just coloring his wings. And that's all I did for the green ones. Now I'm going to bring in the original card and show it to you a little closer. On these yellow ones right here, when I colored this all light yellow, then I went ahead and just outlined the back half of him and left it. Didn't blend, didn't do anything. I just left it so it gave it another code. I did the belly here the same way that I did the belly in this green one. I'm going to bring this up a little closer so you could see what it does. When I colored it all over, it kind of faded the Crystal Coral underneath. So I just added a tiny line right across the bottom, more of it, as you saw in the video. So it made it pop back out again. But you don't want to go too far, because you want to keep that blending, so it makes it blend like into his belly. Okay, I hope that all made sense and you understood how I colored, and I did all the pots and all the butterflies, or the birds, all the exact same way. I did the flowers. All I did to the flowers, I'll bring one up and show you. I just went ahead and I colored the flower all in light. Then I took and I colored the inner part dark, went back over it in light, just in a circle, right around and around and around, just like I did in the last video, and it ended up bringing out the lightness colors. So that's how I did the flowers. So now we are going to bring in the big guy. So we're going to need quite a few bit of things here. We're going to need this piece, and we're going to need our scraps and the all your pots and birds that you colored, and we're going to bring them in. So here we go. I'm going to bring this in. Bring in the big guns. And then we need platform 1. Oh, I got moved. Let's see. We got platform 1, platform 2, and we also have to have platform 3 and 3 again. So here's 3 and 3 again here. All right, let's do the die cutting first, because we have to bring in another platform for the embossing. So here's the die cut. All right, so now we only need, because we're going to do some embossing, we just need, because it's a 3D embossing folder, and if you ever forget, look on your map, on your platform, because your platform gives you all the directions that you need. And because we're going to be using a 3D embossing folder, we need platform 1 and platform 4, which is the gray one. So you need them 2 platforms. We need the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder. And this was something that I told you that I was going to be using, and that you guys may want to purchase it. If you have a different brick and mortar one, go ahead and use it. If you have something else you would rather use, you feel free. So I'm going to be putting down the platform 1, then I got the embossing folder with the paper inside, and then I'm going to put down platform 4, and then we're going to just crank it through. Okay. All right. And then we will put him right out of the way here. We'll get rid of these little platforms, and we will put this off to the side. And we'll get this out here. And here we go. Isn't this wonderful? So then I brought in Smoky Slate. And I'm going to bring this color in. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. And I'm going to be grabbing my light gray. I can find it here. Light gray. There it is. My light gray brush. And I'm just going to dab this, and I'm going to start off the page, and I'm just coming over this ever so lightly. I'm emphasizing a little bit of the bricks but I'm not going crazy. I don't want the thing to look dirty, but I do want some of the bricks to stand out a little bit. There we go. And that's all I did. Okay, so we're done with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this card together so that way we can get stacking our pieces on here. So I'm just going to take some Stamp and Seal, and I'm going to put the petal paint piece down first, like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the brick and mortar piece. I'm going to put that down. Okay. And now we're going to bring in all our little pieces here. So I'm going to put all this stuff. I'll put our little pattern guy here. I'm going to get all this stuff out. Got all my stuff that's cut out. Alright. So what I did first was I went ahead and I kind of put my pots over here and kind of the angle that I wanted them. I did like a dry run, I should say, like this. And then I put one this way. And then I put this one on top, and I kind of went that way. So I tipped this one a little bit more, maybe so it was right side a little bit. This one's tipped a little more down. I just kind of did like a dry run with them, like that. Oh, I really like that. I like how this came out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off first, the green one, and I'm going to put a little bit of snail. You could use liquid glue. You could do whatever you want. And then I'm going to put it back on where I think it went. Now I'm going to remove both of them. And I'm going to put some snail here, or liquid glue. I'm using snail for the purpose of the video, but liquid glue would probably be better, only because of the fact that it would help it from moving while you're moving stuff around. Okay, and then I'm just going to put some glue down here in this corner, and then I'm going to bring this up. And I did just that. So now I can move this around a little bit easier. Now I want this to go right about here. I don't like it just to sit there. I wanted it to give it a little bit of a shadow. So I took my light smoky slate, because you know I like to do this, and I just kind of put a little line here first. Then I'm going to move it out of the way, and I'm just going to go kind of like this. Nothing too fancy there. And then I can bring this back in, and I could sit it there, and it looks just like a little shadow where my buckets are going to sit. Now I did not pop these buckets up, so just go ahead and put some liquid glue or whatever you want on the back of your full thing of it. Put this right down here like that. Okay. So now I am going to bring in some liquid glue. We're going to finish this little guy up here. And we got some birds. So I got this little blue bird here. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of him. You don't want too much, because then it'll come easing out. And you don't want glue all over your pretty little card. Put him right there in the brim. And then we're going to find one of our yellow birds. Here's one. Let me get my picker upper. Sometimes it's easier just to... And then put some glue on the back of him. And put him right here. I just loved this card. why I'm fighting. I could get my picker upper here. And then we're going to put this right here. Right on the edge. Just got all these little birdies floating around, fluttering around these little pots, chit-chatting and whatever. Okay, so now we're going to work on this pot. And since I've got a little bit of extra here, I am going to trim this off because I went out of the line. It moved on me. And this way it just won't look as obvious, and some of the parts that do look off aren't going to show because I have so many other stuff here. Now I did the same thing with this pot because I didn't want it to look like it was climbing the wall. I wanted it to look like it was kind of setting here somewhere. So I took this, I made a little line first, moved it out of the way, kind of made it some up here like this, and then I ended up sitting it back there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some, I can't get that thing to work, I'm going to use some glue. It's almost to the end and it fights me every time when it gets towards to the end. I'm just going to replace it here. Okay, so now I got that down. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our little greenery. Now before that gets too, I probably should have put these down a little bit. Well, we still got time if we work fast. Just tuck these in behind there. Just like that. You can tuck them down farther if you want. I think that looks good. And I just added two and I kind of overlapped them a little bit. Pick this up a little. If I hadn't pushed that down so hard. I think when I used the snail, it had a little more give. When you're going to use the liquid glue, you might want to put them down first, then put the pot down. So we got them, and now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add these. So I just went ahead and put a little bit of glue, make sure I'm in the camera, put a little bit of glue right down, kind of here and there, no, I didn't do it all over, if that's, okay. And I'm just going to stick these right here, like that. I'm not really sure what this is called, but it's some type of succulent thing. I like succulents. I think they're so pretty, but I don't really know anything about them. I have some fake ones, and that's about it. Ugh. And then I just added another one right on top, so it kind of gave it, and actually I think I had it over a little bit, but it'll still work out. It'll still look fine. Now I've taken the purple one, and I'm going to put this down flat. So that one goes right here, flat, on the, and then I take my, okay, we're going to start with the bottom one. We're going to start with the Petal Pink, or Poppy Parade, sorry. And this one goes right about here, I think, kind of over, down. Then I'm going to take the Crystal Coral. I'm going to put this one on. And this one goes right about here. And then I'm going to take the Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to put this one right about here. So it looks like that. And then the Granny Apple Green one, I end up taking a Stampin' Dimensional that I have here. And I put this right in the center. And I put this one right here, and I have it pop up. Then I have 2 birds left. So I'm going to get this one, the green bird, and I just kind of put a little bit of adhesive on them, and I just stick them back here, like that. And then I've got one more yellow bird, and I'm going to go ahead and put some stuff on him. I don't think anything's coming out of this. Oh, there it goes. And I just stuck him on these little blue succulents, like that. It's coming out quite nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and I took thanks, because I couldn't figure out where I wanted anything that wouldn't cover it up. So you guys know me, when I have to find a word and I want it to be on here, but I don't want it to, and you could put happy birthday. I mean, you could leave it blank just like this in the front, but sometimes if you have something that you don't want to cover up a lot of your work that you did on the front, it's just fun to cut out these words like this and then put it across here. Maybe you have something that will fit inside the pot. That would even be cute, and stamp it right on the pot, because that would be a lot of fun. So then I'm just going to take some liquid glue on this and put it down. Get my little pokey tool here. And I put it on the pot, so it was kind of like that. And that is all I did to this card. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining my online workshop. And if you could like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I will be back with card number 3. Bye-bye.